Yeah, I think, in 2008, when Jay started thinking about the idea of doing a restaurant, I think what I did understand was that there was definitely a dearth of that kind of food that we've been exposed to all over the world in Bombay at that time. And so, it sort of made sense that there was a gap that could be filled. Whether we were the right people to do it or not was a different question. But, there was definitely a lot of room for innovation and doing something, sort of different in Bombay back then. So I think that's where the sort of possibility of even opening a restaurant kind of took sprout in our minds. So I think like Jay had just moved back from California when the idea of a restaurant started sort of taking shape, and I think that the thing about the food in San Francisco, especially, is that it's ingredient focused. It's kind of cuisine agnostic, but it's very much ingredient focused because you get exceptional quality of ingredients there. And they really are the star of the dish. So, inspiration can come from all over the world in whatever way highlights the best part of that particular ingredient. And that was kind of the philosophy that I think we wanted to, sort of reproduce here. And that's why, it's not partial to any one cuisine. It's what we call a globally inspired menu, where the ingredient is the star. Every single dish on that menu is something that we've loved, and then it's gone on. It's not even been something like we're like, it's okay, we are like okay with this, maybe someone else will guests will love it. No. It's been literally something that I crave for, and that's been my benchmark. It's sort of, our farm is small, so it's not that, and it's also seasonal, so it's not something that, through the year we are able to supply. So I would say maybe it's about 25% of, the ingredients through the year that come from the farm. But it's really, it's not about that number. It's more just the fact that we can do it at all, and whatever does come there, we know makes such a big difference. So, any improvements that we can make to what we're putting out on the table is basically the goal here. And of course, over the years that we've been doing this, the space that we've used to grow our own produce has sort of expanded. So it's a sort of I guess a moving target for us as well to bring more and more from there to the restaurant.
Basically, our chefs look for the best ingredients. It's not who's the supplier, it's what they're supplying. Everything which goes onto the plate, we try to procure the best there is in Bombay, or best there is in the country. So that's how it starts. I mean, every produce, every meat or seafood we have a standard, and we follow the standards. Our team, the guys, chefs have been there from the day one. Our head chef did our wedding.
We got married a month before the restaurant opened.
So he has been with us and
maintain that standard quality of food and make my guest happy. That's the only concept I have, I can say. If your guest is happy, so definitely you will happy, your team will be happy, who is back up from those team here. So those people are doing a hard work for us. So I'm happy to work with them also, this company also.
So the team, yes, the ingredients and everything are very important through what we create, but the team, the people that put together are so important.
I think the hallmark of the longevity of a restaurant is essentially in consistency, and that consistency comes from the team being consistent, but also for us being so kind of engrossed in what happens here on a day-to-day basis to ensure that consistency, because that's what creates loyalty and people coming back, is if they come back to have the same thing every single time. and it tastes the same every single time.
I think essential is quality, that we concentrated on quality for almost every year and throughout the journey, and that sets us apart. We never looked at the numbers, or we never had the budget to achieve. So we rather than concentrating on numbers, we concentrated on the quality and whatever best we can offer.
And the communication between the team and us, they understand what we are trying to achieve or what we are trying to get, and they accept that same thing. Their philosophy is like, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, and they push themselves to get that dish proper and right. And once it comes onto the menu, and to continue that dish to be consistent.
Bombay's given us that opportunity to be a sort of landmark of Bombay, landmark of the city, and I'm really grateful to that, and I'm grateful to like the Mumbai locals who come here religiously, who supported us through all the thick and thin of this these last 10 years, and I'm a local Bombay sort of born and bred, so I'm really happy that if there was anywhere that we were going to do this, it's here.
I mean, post-COVID, there's no tourist. Our restaurant is running 100% with the locals right now. And so just to have that, it was scary, because we used to have like 40-50% in the season will be NRIs and foreigners visiting us. But post-COVID, we are floating still because of the local support that we are getting.
I think for me, I've learned that this business, it's full of ups and downs, and I think the industry, as well as running your own business, there's constantly highs and lows, and I mean there's so many, honestly, but it's really, at the end of the day, I always say this, that and I think Jay always says this, that money is just a unit of measurement. I think the real sort of high comes from the kind of feedback and encouragement that we get from our guests and who have been with us through the journey. The friends I've made, through this business, and it's really that, I think, rewarding aspect of it that for me is consistently the standout feature of running this business. One of the things that we faced, that I can sort of think of, is it's a constantly evolving, the tax sort of issues that our industry has had to deal with throughout the year. It keeps changing. It affects our costing. It affects how we can price our menus, etc. Import regulations and import duties. I mean, that's one of the biggest hurdles for us as a restaurant. And of course, there is a huge impetus to encourage industry to go local, but not everything is available locally. So there is bound to be an element of import required. And I think if that was made more accessible, it would only help enhance this industry. So I would say that the bureaucratic challenges, of course, are sort of probably the biggest hurdle to encouraging this industry to grow. I don't know if you sort of faced, of course, license regime and things. And I think that the good thing is that, with the industry sort of standing together, especially in the last year with the pandemic, the industry really coming together and standing together as a unit. There's been a lot of representations made to the government and things, and I think that the government slowly is listening on certain fronts, maybe not everything, and recognizing what this industry contributes, to the larger sort of ecosystem, and hopefully making sort of changes in the right direction. So, just for example, we launched pizzas a couple of months ago, a new brand called Max Street Toppings, and it wasn't just about getting pizzas out of the oven, putting them in a box, and delivering them. It was also about the information that went on the box. So whether it's a playlist, whether it's the reheating instructions, whether it's yes, there are, like, everyone puts sort of sachets of whatever condiments in a box, but in ours we designed the box where we had like little bowls going fitted into the box, which carried your oils, which like you would normally experience in a restaurant, but you were here getting it through delivery.
So just as a pizza brand, I mean, we want to be something different. We want to bring that experience part that we talked about, that what we have achieved at table is something like give the freedom to the guest to create their own pizzas. The toppings, we have 20 vegetarian and 20 non-vegetarian toppings. So we have this 40 toppings, and they can build the pizza as they like it. And the other section of our is recommendation, chef recommendation. So chef has created our own recommendations, which is a very classic pizzas and some twist to those pizzas with a little flavorful. I don't say it's Indianized, but it's different. So that was the whole idea behind the pizza brand. And of course, we have other brands, Indian, North Indian, Indian cuisine, which is Tara, and Asian cuisine, which is Misty. I think you should.
Yeah, no, I think, we happen to have actually launched Iktara, which is our Indian menu, at the end of February, so it's almost coming up to a year, last year. And it just worked out really well because obviously, unfortunately, lockdown happened, but then delivery really took off for us. So that brand managed to still, do its thing during lockdown. Then we have a bakery, which is Max Street Bread Co. So that's been around 5 years. It started off actually with the idea of servicing other restaurants with bakery items that they may not have had the expertise to make in-house. But we shifted that focus actually to a B2C format during lockdown, and so that's kind of really taken off in that sense for the last year as well. And we have Misty, which is our Asian Southeast Asian menu. So this was previously our restaurant in Colaba, which we closed towards the end of November 2019, towards the end of 2019. And but it was a great menu, and of course, because delivery was the flavor of the day during lockdown, we revived that in a delivery format, and that's sort of taken off as well. And most recently, we launched Toppings, which was our pizza brand. So these are the 4 delivery brands which we kind of, which have become a big part of our revenue model in the last year, just because of the nature of things going on. But I think that that's here to stay. So, we now have this nice balance of restaurants and delivery.
Just one thing I want to add is we have not differentiated between the dining experience at a restaurant, like table, or the delivery brands.
Yeah, I think the philosophy of the group as a whole is consistent. And, like I mentioned earlier about the experience of whether you're, how you get your pizza delivered to you, or how you might eat a more lengthy meal at the restaurant. I mean, sort of each experience is tailor-made, but the philosophy behind it is the same, which is that it has to be, exceptionally good quality and served in the best possible way. So mine, I come from I'm a Punjabi, so I come from a family of yummy Punjabi food, but at home actually we used to eat very simply, mostly vegetarian, and non-vegetarian was like a weekend treat kind of thing for us. But I managed to, I had the privilege to live abroad for very sort of early on, and be exposed to a lot of different cuisines. And I love good food, but I think the real sort of I would say, introduction to, the kind of food that we really love today and that we've tried to emulate happened, after we met back in 2008. And of course, Jay was still living in San Francisco at that time. And so I used to visit him there, and, that kind of really opened my eyes to the world of food. And and then of course, ever since we've gotten into this business, every holiday revolves around food now. So, it's just an occupational hazard, I guess. But we sort of love. I mean, I love trying. I'm probably a little less adventurous than Jay, who will literally eat anything once. But if it's good food, you'll find us there, basically.
I was 18 when I moved to US. So got to travel a lot. Traveling makes you try different food and appreciation for food, I guess. Got to live in Germany for 2 years and a short period of time in Tokyo. So all that made realize what really good food is all about.
I think, just the milestone of 10 years sort of made us kind of pause as well and think of, where do we want to sort of take this now? Like, now that we, I think if you'd asked us in January, the same time last year, we may not have envisioned having 4 delivery brands and, 1 and hopefully 2 restaurants by the end of, within a year later. And but that's what it is today. So I think that it's a good time for us to kind of just pause and review what the way forward is. So before we just go along as just taking it a day at a time, I think that this is a good time for us to think about where we want to head. So I don't think we have all the answers yet, but we're definitely.
The industry itself is going through a big challenge because of COVID. And maybe the requirement for the restaurant is you need to be non-restaurateur to run a successful restaurant, I guess.
I don't know about that. I mean, yes, to some extent.
No, we
but
both are.
It's
both
definitely
are from very different fields.
Yeah.
And we run this restaurant in a very different way than a normal restaurateur.
I'm sure we would have skipped a few of the expensive lessons we had learning it ourselves, learning on the job if you've been to culinary school or hotel management school. But I mean, at the end of the day, I really feel like it's something you have to feel very passionate about, because like I said, it's a business that's riddled with a lot of bumps along the way, and so you really have to be willing to ride it out and love what you're doing. But I guess that's with any business, but more so with this. Yeah.